Morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 38 in the book of John. So, do you ever feel like killing Jesus? And if so, you're not the first. You're in good company, so to speak. And I want to say, if you do, or you have ever felt like killing Jesus, you are welcome here at this podcast. So, I want to tell just a little observation that I am a fairly heavy user of social media as a tool for this podcast. And I have the opportunity frequently, or at least occasionally, to interact with people not from around here. And many times that experience is very positive and encouraging, but occasionally it's quite shocking, quite violent. People have a very negative response to a Christian podcast. It seems to me to be a greatly disproportional response to a podcast they didn't have to listen to in the first place, or at least a blurb they didn't have to read. So my response, quite honestly, has been I'm a little shocked. My question today, as I was thinking about it, is should I be surprised? And today's passage is going to address that. So it starts with Jesus being involved in healing, and he just up and heals a guy. He does it on the Sabbath, and it's a big deal for the man. Obviously, he's found in the temple. He's trying to figure it all out, and seems to be owing God something, or wanting to sacrifice, or wanting to be with the people of God and have some gratitude. But after that part was settled and the guy is sort of out of the picture, the problem continues. So the conflict that Jesus has because he did it on the Sabbath continues. And what became a big deal for those who the big deal about the healing wasn't the healing, it was that it was on the Sabbath. That continues, and even more so because Jesus makes himself equal with God. And now we're talking about a lordship issue. So here's the story. John chapter 5, verse 15. The man went away, the healed man went away, and told the Jews it was Jesus who healed him. And this was why the Jews were persecuting Jesus. So start with persecution. Because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. So that's the first thing they didn't like. But Jesus answered them, "My Father is working until now, and I am working." And here Jesus makes himself equal with God. Verse 18, this is why the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him. Because not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. So Jesus was making himself equal with God, and in a sense they were right. So they did not misunderstand what Jesus was saying, or what he was claiming. He was making himself equal with the Father. So they were right to want to kill him, considering this. So either he's God or he is not. And if he's God, he's owed allegiance and worship and obedience, or he's not God. So if he's not God, there's kind of two choices. One is that he's mentally ill and he deserves pity and compassion and, treatment and institutionalization. But if he's not mentally ill, and he's blaspheming, then they're right. He does deserve death. This is a very serious topic. This is a life and death topic, nothing to fool around with. So this was first illustrated and elucidated by C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity and his Lord, Liar, and Lunatic argument. So chapter 5 of John, before this, they already wanted to kill him. And after this, they wanted to kill him all the more. They wanted him more dead, if you will. So they wanted to kill Jesus more. And that's kind of the where I wanted to go with this. It's a sentiment that many can have, and many can have for a long held. It can be a held position for a long time. So there does exist a hard hostility to Jesus then, 2,000 years ago, but I see it actually now too. There are people that don't want his teachings. They don't want his example. They don't want to consider their response to him. They don't want to consider what it might mean to them with regards to their actions and activities. So like the above, there's kind of like no neutral with Jesus. Either he's Lord and we are beholden to his commands and his demands and his position, or Jesus is crazy, he's a lunatic, let's go help this poor guy, or he's a liar and therefore I want him to go away forever. So Jesus doesn't just break the Sabbath. He breaks all the misperceptions of himself and basically claims himself as Lord. He says he's God, and he isn't. And if he's not, then I want to kill him. So here's the thought for today, that those that come to consider Christ as Lord, as the anointed one, that he's the one that we've been waiting for many people, it will be hard. They're going to need some help. Some people are going to need the wheels greased. Now, some people, it's easy because they see the Lord, they get healed from the Lord, they get 62 cases of wine like the wedding at Cana, or I got myself insight of myself like Nathaniel did. Paul knows this is difficult for everybody. In 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1, he says, we appeal to you not to receive the grace of God in vain, for he says, and then he quotes Isaiah here, in a favorable time I have listened to you, and in a day of salvation I have helped you. And Jesus is kind of saying the same thing. My Father is at working, and now I am at working. So I think practically, I don't think there are those around us who want to lock Jesus up because he's a lunatic. Nobody responds like that. But there are people that want to kill Jesus today and react violently of mouth and attitude and even intent. And so I'm telling myself, as well as all of us, I don't think we should be surprised about this. I don't think we should be surprised when people want to kill Jesus. So let's not be surprised when people want to kill Jesus. In a sense, it's a logical position. So here's what I want to say. If you have stumbled on this podcast or the title or something, and you feel like killing Jesus, first of all, you're not the first, and welcome here. And I'd love to have you come back, because you can still feel like you can kill Jesus tomorrow and the next day, Lord willing. Thanks for listening.